Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, help you understand the best practice and big picture. Hope you saw what I did there with the Crypto Cash. Just kind of a little running joke that we have regarding my disability, my wonderful disability here, and of course my left-handedness on the mouse. So awesome stuff, great times here. I actually have it unwrapped, so I might show you what that looks like, of course. And you know what? Screw it. Let's just go ahead and do that. Fast forward 15 seconds if you have an uneasy stomach, right? So here's kind of what we're looking at here. As you can see, nice and fantastic lacerations, all healing slowly and surely. So anyways, I just want to kind of throw that out there to kind of provide some legitimacy. In case you're curious why I'm mousing with my left hand. This hurts like a son of a gun. So what we're going to do is we're going to obviously look at the CPI data and see what's going on here with Bitcoin. Good news is it didn't really affect things very much. We saw a blip down and a blip back up, not quite as impactful as Fed rate increases, for interest rates, but generally speaking, resulted positively, I feel, because it looks like the price wants to continue to recover. Still too early to tell, but the fact that we didn't get a massive dump implies that there could be further upside moving forward. We're starting to make higher lows as well. Okay, so we'll look at that and much more. Also, if you're new to the channel and not a financial advisor, I love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. And obviously, if you are new to the channel and you're not familiar with my my trading community, I do offer a trading academy community and signal group. Okay. I also want to draw light to here as well, because a lot of my community members watch these videos. If you are part of the Crypto Cash community, we do have a $10,000 prize pool through Bitget to allow for you to effectively be able to benefit from that engagement. So for lack of better terms, it's 2-week competition and you're paid out based on profit and loss ratio, trading volume, and of course, there's early bird bonus. So if you're not currently registered, definitely go ahead and use this link in the description below to register so you can get eligible for those rewards and to potentially consider becoming a member and obviously jumping in on some of these bonuses here. What's cool is 4 random traders with over $3 million in volume will earn $1,000 USDT each. So it's kind of cool. Good little 10,000K prize pool, or $10,000 prize pool rather, 10K. 10,000K would be different. We're not there yet, but the prize pool will continue to increase as we get more members. Okay, so check that out in your own time. I just like to kind of highlight that because that's a really cool aspect of our community above and beyond learning how to become a better trader. So make sure you check that out. All right, so we're looking at the daily here, and we want to look at a handful of things here. First of all, you can see that we're still above some of the strong support levels. 18,800 has held. We've got the Fibonacci retracement level, both circle and lowest point which the price wanted to go, right at 17,700/17,600. So that leads me to believe the bottom is tentatively in, or if we do see anything further downside, we shouldn't see a price point below 17.6. That's my speculation. I think that's fairly realistic. We can also see here too, if we look at TD sequential, we're at a 6 right now, and we're hitting that potential reset button here, but we're going to need to have some decent days to come up with that. So the bottom line is that we've been on the downside for some time, and this slow potential shift in momentum should likely end us in the green. Okay. Now, again, a lot of things have to happen, but I'm still bullish on Bitcoin in the short term. I think that we're going to see 20, maybe 21 or 22,000 touched again here in the relative near future. But between now and then, whenever that happens, we got to just kind of let it roll. Okay. And in other words, we want to expect it's going to get worse before it gets better. My grandpa taught us that, and it's important to, be hopeful, but it's also important to not be naive too, right? Because we're still bearish in the overall sense of things. Now, granted, we did break above the bearish trend line, which is fantastic. That red line is behind us. For the most part, we could still drop, but it's still likely going to stay above. And this most recent trend line, we're trying to break above today. Candlestick hasn't closed yet, but generally speaking, it's looking good. Okay. That being said, we're under 50 on the RSI still, not fantastic. We have a MACD divergence here that's kind of leveling out, which is great because we could very well see a bounce here. And you got to keep in mind that does happen sometimes where the price action will come down to test that level. And of course, it'll continue to bounce up and go higher. So just because you see a MACD divergence does not imply it's going to drop like a rock. Okay, it just implies that there's potential for further continuation in whichever direction it's heading. Right now it's heading down and it could likely go lower, but should it Probably not, based on key level supports and CPI data being I actually don't know the results of the CPI data. I just know that it went down and it went up in the same exact time. We'll look at the shorter time frames to identify that, but it wasn't terrible. It was not. It wasn't massive. Okay, it didn't hurt much at all. In fact, we're increasing slowly from there, so it's always a good sign. All right, so again, mostly good stuff here, and then we don't necessarily need to look at the moving averages, but to summarize, we're underneath the 50, and we will be until we get back up above, just say 19,800. So 19,800 and 18,800 are like two little ranges that we're working within, and we're pretty much stuck in that area. You can see a tremendous amount of volume too in that area as well, whereas we got the most volume currently at the current price point right at about the 19,200 range. Okay. So again, just some things to recognize. We're mostly on the right side of the tracks here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to still see further downside. It just implies that it's less likely, right? Again, statistical probabilities of it going up or down. That's really all we're trying to identify per time frame. And the daily does tell us that we are due for a correction to the upside, especially with us not coming down any lower with the CPI data. So that being said, we did get the bounce off 30 on the RSI, which is pretty standard. We got a MACD convergence as well. That took place roughly 8 hours ago, and that's a positive sign as also. So if I'm going to use the MACD, I'm going to trust the 4-hour time frame the most, because that is the most beneficial in my personal opinion based on my trading techniques. In other words, I like to, buy today and sell within a week or less. That's ultimately the idea. I'm cool with selling in a couple of hours when I hit my targets, don't get wrong, but it doesn't always work out that way. I don't love day trading specifically. It just doesn't fit my personality type. I've done it for years, trust me. It's totally doable, and it's not bad that if you do that as well. Our community, we have a lot of day traders. But the general sense here of what I'm getting at is that the 4-hour time frame is the best for the time in which I hold my positions for. Okay, you got to keep in mind, shorter time frames are going to be beneficial for quicker movements. And if you're buying and selling in shorter amount of times, then that would work better for you. But you still want to recognize and understand the general sense of things. Bitcoin looks moderately bullish on the macro. And then also we can see here on the 4-hour, we're bouncing off 30 and we have a MACD convergence followed by, let's go ahead and take a look at the moving averages, potential retest of the 20-day SMA on the 4-hour. I'm not super sold on that one. That's not crazy, but what's good about that is it always runs concurrent with trend lines. And if we can break above the 20, we'd effectively be broken free from that trend line. Okay, so this descending trend making lower highs has so far tentatively ceased to consider, to continue rather. So let me show you what I mean by that here. Let's make it a little easier for you to see. And first of all, we'll look at smaller time frames to see, but this is the candlestick from CPI data. That's when the market had opened and CPI data was released at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as you can see, that just kind of jumped down and jumped up in that hour, and the price has slowly increased ever since. Okay, so good news there. And what I'm getting at is previously is that we were making lower lows consistently. So you can obviously see how many times this continued. All right, now we've created a higher low here and a higher low here as well. So in the last 12 hours roughly, we have seen continuation potential to the upside. Okay, so again, that to me is a positive, and if you were to draw, just say, a trend line out here, for example, with the candle wicks, we're omitting the CPI data wick, we can see that it's looking fairly consistent in the sense that it's making higher lows, and the likelihood of breaking through this resistance on Fibonacci at 19,200 is fairly high. Okay. Again, the more often you retest the level, the more likely it is to break. So it does feel like it's going to want to continue higher. Let's see what Ichimoku Cloud tells us here. We are traveling within the cloud, which is perfectly fine. It's ultimately just a sign of not wanting to take a position. But as you can kind of see, the conversion lines above the baseline, the lagging span is free and clear of the price action. Well, okay, sorry, I misspoke. It's soon to be free and clear. So hypothetically, the price continues up and closes above 19,200 today, we're going to be in really, really good shape. That to me would reaffirm itself as a support level, and the likelihood of the price increasing from there is high. That is, in my opinion, is ultimately what we want to look for. So again, mostly good stuff here in the sense of Bitcoin. I mean, every time frame is telling us that a correction is due. Let's quickly take a peek though at TD sequential and see if we hit any exhaustive states. We did hit an 8, which was a bit of a push, but on the same accord, we got a nice little reset and consolidation here for the last 5 or 6 hours. So it seems very likely that the price would increase from here. So me personally, I do see mostly positive on all 3 time frames. Okay, so it's definitely looking good in that sense. I think continuation is likely. Let's take a quick peek though at the 1 minute just so you can kind of see the CPI data. if you can see here, price action comes in here, all well and good. Well, look at that, exactly 5:30 a.m. Pacific. That's where I live. Basically 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Price action drops pretty significantly. So we got an instant dump of about 1%, and then an instant recovery of roughly the same percentage, and the price going sideways ever since. So that's basically what happened with the CPI data today. Not really as impactful as most other inflation, conferences, so to speak, where Jerome Powell gets up there and totally wrecks the market. It's nothing quite like that. So that's actually really good. That implies that we're in the clear for a little while until, I believe, November 2nd, or is it November 2nd? It's either November 2nd or, oh no, yeah, the 10th is CPI data for November. So that being said, we still got a few weeks of likely bullish continuation. I think the next couple weeks will be more upside, and we might see some red days near the end of the month, leading into that scenario there, that potential of further, Fed rate increased hikes, right? All right, anyways, enough talking in circles. That's pretty much all we got here for you today. I hope that you had learned something, obviously. And again, if you want to become a better trader, cryptocash.tech is the website, link in the description below. So that way you can be eligible for, of course, this wonderful competition that we're going to be having monthly. And these are just really cool things. I mean, just the fact that we have the option to be able to, give money away just for participating in something you're going to be doing anyways is pretty awesome. So again, if you're not currently registered, feel free to go ahead and take part of that $1,000 there by registering. You get an instant sign-up bonus. All right, well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Have a good one. Take care.